Well, it's a beautiful morning, and this is the program Today with John and Helen on PlusTvAfrica, channel 408. 08 DSTV. Every Saturday, we make it a date to join you here to talk about all that concerns our family, the society, and our intention is to make the society a better one, starting from the family.
Great. Helen.
Yes.
You know what? This is the celebration season.
Okay.
Have you noticed that shortly after Easter, we've gone into the Muslim fast, which means that shortly after, there will be a bit of celebration. Yes,
again. And I think this has been the trend in the last few years, apart from last year when COVID, didn't let either of the religions celebrate anything.
Yes.
Yeah, but for about 3, 4, 5 years, I realized that immediately after Easter, it is the Ramadan.
Okay, so we're kind of like moving along the same calendar.
Definitely.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Great.
Yeah, and so for all of our Muslim brothers and sisters who are foregoing all of the pleasures and the luxuries of life at this point in time, we say happy Ramadan to you.
Great. So,
and we're talking about light situation,
Helen, you know, quite frankly, don't touch that sore point.
Okay.
Because I think the issue of power, in the last few weeks especially, has taken a dive for the worst.
Okay, so anything that pinches you, that makes you feel uncomfortable, you don't want to talk about it. Is that it?
You want me to talk about it?
Yeah, we should. We should talk about it.
Yes, Helen, you know what? Last week, all out of the blues, we got a bill of 50,000 naira
flat
for all of us in our estate for moving us to a new feeder somewhere
that you're yet to enjoy.
That we're yet to enjoy, and it's been reflected in the March bill. Okay. And it's like, wait a minute, what's going on?
So my question, John, what did you do?
What did we do?
In your community,
yeah,
what have you done?
Collectively, as an association, that's a residents association, we've made a complaint to the office, and we've been told to do a letter.
Oh my God, not
and
again.
You know that is how it starts.
Not again.
From the letter, nothing happens.
Just like
but we have the bill. I have a bill of 50,000.
You know why I'm laughing? I do prepaid. And I am, right now, I don't even count.
Now, this is even to
I
get
don't
us,
even take note
to get
of how
us
much.
to migrate, to get us all to migrate to the prepaid thing.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, the meter people came to my residence, and after taking a look, they said, you would need a 3-phase meter. We'll be back on Monday.
And that's been
it.
And there are no prepaid meters at the moment.
And in between, I got a bill of 50,000 naira.
Okay. I hope you and your resident association members, that you take this to its logical conclusion.
Yes, certainly. We're going to do that.
Because in this part of the world, our agitations are just limited between the 4 walls of our homes. We get angry, we just mumble, and it ends.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks ago, the tariff went off almost over 100%.
Yeah, the tariff's gone up.
And then people started talking here and there, and all of a sudden it's quiet.
Fizzled out. So, 1, we need to be protected. 2, we need to speak up.
True.
Right?
True.
Great.
True.
So, Helen,
I wish you the best.
I hope you'll be happier next week.
All right. Okay. It's all about culture. We have, in the last 3 weeks, like we said at the beginning, looking at culture and tradition on our culture series, who we are, our beliefs, our customs, and how we live our lives. The African culture has been described for so long as beautiful and not so beautiful at the same time. I don't know what that means. Please,
Indeed. Indeed. How so?
Beautiful and not so beautiful.
We're about to get into all of this with our 2 guests today.
Okay.
A special welcome to you, our guests. In the last few weeks, we've been able to define culture and tradition, and we've also looked at different similarities and differences between both, and even gone to the extent of assessing the impact on our families and societies. Now is the time to dig into what we've been able to live with concerning our culture and traditions over time. Now, could you please tell us, for starters, Mr. Excel Adeleye, our guest, what are the implications of keeping our culture and traditions intact? And that's a way of welcoming you to the show.
Exactly. Mr. Excel, how are you today?
I'm great. It is always a nice time and experience to be in this station. Thank you for the opportunity once more.
This
and
costume.
Also to the lamentation you guys are making about the electricity supply. Sorry, we're in it and we're feeling the pain.
Okay, Excel, I am very curious. Before you answer John's question, the cap on your head.
Okay.
And the,
yes. Now, to the question.
Fabric.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Tell me about it.
Okay, I will say about that. I'm a person who I love the African attire. And anybody who knows me knows I love Ankara especially. You don't see me wear it as a trouser, as a cloth. And I have gone beyond also to do something. Let me show you quickly. This is also an Ankara I've used also to make shoe. You can see Ankara to make sneakers. That is my love for Africa and the culture that we have.
Great.
You know, and you have brought me to a very good topic. You said, what is the importance of keeping the African culture
intact.
As well?
Intact,
So
yes.
the first thing you need to know that what makes you you is your culture. So the originality and who you are is your culture. Now, if you say the British man, what makes it the British man is because the guy is English. What makes him an Englishman is the embracement and the living of his culture. So an ordinary person who lives his culture are totally neglect who he is. And when you neglect who you are, that means you have no identity. So it is very important that we embrace our identity. And in identity comes respect. In identity comes discovery. In identity comes innovation. And in identity also comes leadership of a global leadership. And that is why when you look at the countries, the 5 countries who is leading the world, there are those who have embraced their culture. The Germans speak in German. They use their own currency for their, so you can see the Americans, they embrace their culture as well. The Chinese embrace their culture. The Koreans embrace their culture. So when you are going to China, for example, you understand that you are going to meet these people with a unique identity. Then I have to work by the identity. That's why they are successful. And I like always say, you can only be a copy of the original. You can never be original of the original. Okay, that means that when a person loses culture, you become a copy, and a copy fades. A copy is original. Now the copy can reproduce. And that is my answer for it.
Okay. Well, the world is a global village today. And so we can't run away from the fact that some external influences will come in here and there and tweak a little bit our culture and traditions. Now, what are the most obvious influences, external influences that you have observed?
Well, I think the one we need to first take our reality is the colonialism. And the colonialism didn't really influence our culture but change, and we lost the source of our identity. And we need to come to that reality that we have lost the source of our identity. We have lost our history. And in our history comes those our forefathers or our ancestors that was taken as slavery, who could have passed, the traditions, to generation upon generation. So we are an expression of ignorance and lack of the originality of our culture. You get it now? So, but moving forward, after colonialism, then we have the influence of the white man in Africa, who taught us what to do. My daughter once asked me, Daddy, he says, why do we speak English? And I said, because of the colonial master, taught us how to speak. Then he says that if we still speak English after they are given our independence, does that not mean that we are still colonized? Ooh. I mean, I never thought about that. For the first time a young child asked me that question. So we are still a bundle of colonialism. That is why our mind is colonized. So, for example, if I dress in a way, and or I speak a grammar and I make blunder, I'm looked down upon. But if a German speak English and he make blunder, nobody laugh at him. So this is a big one, such that our children also and us are trying to speak like some person and not speak like us. So, and my accent is now become a crime, and I also become a tool of intelligence to judge my intelligence, which is quite poor. The German man teach his child in a German, his physics in German language. You get it now. So it's a bundle of problems. It starts from the root, and it's unfortunate also in our secondary school to see that history also is fading away from the syllabus of school. So it's a big problem. You could see also on the radio station, on media and broadcast, that some kind of person is employed because they speak like the Westerner. That is also the poor. So I think it's about the system now that we need to correct if we need to really be on top and to be a global leader.
Okay, thank you. Following that, we know that our traditions are most often handed down to us. How much of its original state gets passed down to coming generations? You just shared with us what your daughter thought about, us speaking English continuously, even after we have claimed to be independent, So how much of the original state gets passed down to these younger generations?
We are all in it together, and we know that there is no originality that is passed, unless we are lying to ourselves. Even we strive and work hard not to take our children to our own town, because there are witches and wizards that will consume them, forgetting that the social media right there is consuming our children faster than the wizard and the witch in the village. And even it's common logic to say that have all the witches not died, even in the village. So, I mean, there's no route for us to pass down anything. As a matter of fact, you see parents at home trying to make sure that their children learn in English and not in their language. So when you hear some children trying to speak their language, you hear accidental words from them. And you are wondering, are you really a Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa as well? So, I mean, we're not really passing it, and we're not conscious of it in any way. But few parents are trying really to do that. It's amazing also to see a lot of Nigerian diaspora who also are trying to put this in their children, to understand who we are. So I think it's a big problem. There needs to be a movement in trying to pass our legacy to our children. Because when you come into Africa, especially Nigeria in 100 years to come, you just discover that everybody is black, but they are white inside of them.
Wow.
You see, you just touched on something I think I made reference to something about last week or so, that there's a certain aspect of our culture that I've missed so much, which is the seasonal festivals, masquerades and all of that. And now that you talked about witches and wizards, my mind just went straight to that, that may just be one of those things that we are missing out on. Yeah, that's correct? Yes, Excel.
Yes, correct, sir. Like the topic and demonizing our culture. You see, we can't run away from the fact that there's evil, and evil is so strong in the world, and in the world, not necessarily in Nigeria, in the Western country, they legalize demon, they legalize some religion, that is evil, So, and that's the reality. But are they not still prospering as a country? They are prospering, and we have to accept that there's demon, there's all that. But to say that we will limit our movement because of demon, it is foolishness. And I will tell you my grandmother before he passed on. When we go to the village, and I grew up, and I'm still a Christian, and my mother will say, be careful of this and this and all that. And my grandma, then when they bring food, they say, don't eat the food, don't touch it. My grandma will say, Jesu, Jesu. You just say sound like this on the food. Jesu, Jesu. Then she eats the food. But my grandmother never died of any poison all through her life. She died in her old age, her ripe age. You get it now?
Yes.
So the belief system is now the problem. Because you know why that's the problem? Because when the colonizer came religion. You get it now? And the religion also was not, the religion also came with some lot of lies, So the lies came to what? To program our mind to feel that there's a problem. You get it now? So, and for example, let me say for you, If I keep saying that you are great, you're going to believe it. So our people believe that our culture is demon because they are programmed to be so. Forgetting also that the religion also that came to compete with the tradition, with the culture that we have, with the religion of our culture. You get it now? So you can now see that our people don't even know the religion of our culture to understand where it's come. When they say Eledumare means God. You get it now? When they say Shogo, you need to first discover or go to the history. What is Shogo itself? You know, it is funny where you go to a foreign museum and you see what they demonize as a statue that the people are paying to watch. Are they now saying that they are paying to watch evil? You know, why would they come and carry some artifacts and all that? Are they saying that they carry evil to their country because those evil were so beautiful and people are paying, you know, around the world, and it's still there? Some they are trying to bring back to Africa and some will never recover. And I think that we need to first question those information that makes my father, my ancestor look bad. Let me give you one I will never forget. My mom says to me that it still follows her in terms of the pain. My grandfather told my mom in the village, and she said to her, there is this man in the other village who is very good in traditional medicine. And do you know what? I want to take you to him so that you can write the formulation of this concoction he makes, you know, and how he combines the leaves and all that. Who knows tomorrow? And my mother also, who was born again, you know, as a Christian, says, no, I don't want to. No, I'm not going to that man. That man is an evil man, because she was informed so. My mother today says that's one of their greatest regrets, because if she has those formulations, she will even impact her world more in the name of Jesus. You know, she will have had medicine to cure more people. She will have more influential for our venture. She will have made more profit for themselves. You now see the reason why we go to China to go and embrace the traditional medicine. And you can see the revolution that is going on in the world, that traditional medicine has become the real medicine. We can see with coronavirus that Africa was not really hit because our people also know some traditional way to go about it. So, I mean, that is answer to that particular question.
Okay. Now, Excel, thank you. Thanks so much for, you know, for giving us an insight so much, you know, into that question. Now, like the law of gravity, what goes up must come down. Right? What I'm trying to say is that our traditions and cultures and other values will need to be handed over, you know, to the generation coming after us. Now, that simple act of handing over our tradition and culture to our children and grandchildren, could it be regarded, the way we are doing it, could it be regarded as demonizing?
The way it's done.
At all, sir. Not at all, sir. Now, let me give, for example, the Chinese man teach his children his culture, and it's not more demon. As we speak today, meditation, it's emanated from a particular religion in the area of India and Co. And it has now become mental health therapy. You know, and beyond that, it has been regarded as one of the biggest in well-being. You know, that is how that culture and the religion of that culture is now becoming a lifestyle, you know, to us. So the issue I think we need to face is we need to go first. What is the benefit of our culture? Let me give you one, which you have seen in my passage. Most of the people who grow up with healthy values of the culture have some level of values to sustain their mental health, to sustain relationship especially. And what I've discovered most time is most of the people who follow Western culture, I've discovered that in my work, my years of work, more than 1 decade, have a performance in their handling of relationship, because there's a positivity in the culture that we have in how to respect each other, in how to value each other, in how to give some level. And I'm not saying that there are no wrong values also that I've seen. For example, I was somewhere yesterday, and a guy tried to make an African adage that says that a man can only use what he has under him to satisfy his wife sexually. And I told him that is not true. Get it now? Now we're in the modern world where a man needs more than what is under him, and most men also satisfy their wives now, not just what is under them. So we need to grow in this culture. So, but I think first we need to go back first to the roots. How do we behave? And that is why Nigeria as a country does not have a value system. Because we live, our culture. And let me give you one, for example. It's a joke that we all say that if our leaders swear by Ogun, you get it now, I know of the gods from the tribe you come from, it is more likely that they will not corruption. Because you know what that means is comes with our culture some beliefs that makes us. So there's a fear when you know that Ogun will kill you and your family, or thunder will strike. You get it now? And those, because that's what makes us us. Now, this is my concept. It is more likely that we never deliver the influence and the impact and the legacies that we need as Africa or as Nigeria if we don't go back to our originality. And that is why you see, as we struggle, we are failing. Because what makes us is not being embraced. So I think it's very important now for us to let our children even know. When I was growing in school, I know a lot of African stories. I know a lot about Africa, but as we speak, it's not embraced. Okay. and the school even does not implement that. So then you think that your child can compete successfully with a guy from Finland who understands how Finland emanated, or a guy from Russia that knows the Soviet Union crisis before he was born? No. Because when they sit as informed person. Unfortunately, we have been deformed because we are not informed about our true originality. And somebody said this: if you want to kill the follower, just fight the leader. Then it's now our responsibility to begin to ask questions. I once said the question, I said that where you live today, you know the settlers? And that's the question I'm throwing out there. You know the settlers of where you start.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think before you throw in your next question, John,
yes.
Excel, I need you to help me here. I think the whole thing about evil and demonizing being associated with the African culture and tradition has to do with the fact that, the way it's done, the strategy and the formatting of it, it's not in line with the teachings, of Christianity. There's grace, there's forgiveness, there's love and all of it. And not this instant judgment that he talked about, the Ogu thing, and the fact that you carve something there that becomes a family altar that people go to worship, pour some libation and stuff, and it's totally alien, to the coming of the West and the Europeans
I think it's about.
So I guess that's where
indoctrination and all of that. But
don't
let's go.
So I don't know if you have a thing or two to say, probably to disabuse my mind from the direction that I'm going.
Okay. Now, let me answer that as a very good question. Now, when you look, let's just look for where the source of the religion we embrace from. Two sources, it's from the Jewish people, which emanated into the Europe, and from Europe, it became the Christianity, but the Jewish people still embrace with the New Testament, and they embrace that, and they still work by that. That's why when you kill one Jew, they will make sure they hunt you and your nation and your people down. You get it now? And do you know what? Those same Jewish people are one of the most prosperous people in the world. The world have tried to bring them down, but they are still powerful. They sit among the enemies. But with that same principle of, if you shoot me, I will kill you, that's still prospering. They are prospering in agriculture. They are prospering in technology. They are prospering in medical, in biology. And if you also go to America or go to UK, for example, the Queen leads, and it's on top of it. In the Arab world, when Aramco was formed, because because the Shia went there and they wanted to influence the business partnership with the religion, and they said, no, you're not going to bring your religion here, okay? We maintain our culture. As we speak today, Arab nations are prospering, and Dubai has become a place where you go to regardless. But if you go into Qatar and you take it and you carry drugs, you are gone. There's no forgiveness. We know for sure if you go to China and they catch you on illegal things, there's no prayer of forgiveness. You are gone. Now, you know why? Because the principles of the culture works and is passed over from generation to generation. So we need to say, what lies are we use religion to cover up as an excuse? For example, a man who wants to fornicate, we say that Bible did specifically say one wife. You get it now? And also as a Muslim, you also declare that the Quran says that they should marry many wives as you can handle them equally, as well. But you know that guy is actually using that religion to manifest the lust of his heart and the selfishness he has, not necessarily the love. Okay? But if we go back to the basic of system of our culture, he actually makes room for that. He makes room for law, he makes room for eating, he makes room for marriage, he makes room for other things. You get it now? As a system to govern people. You get it now?
Interesting.
We need to go back and question ourselves.
Interesting, Excel.
Yes, it is.
Well,
I don't know if we have time to squeeze in one more question, John. Please, the director, one more question.
Yes, Excel. Here. I know that you are all for originality, handing down or in its original form. But of course, the truth is that this will not happen. Now, would the adaptation of our traditions in the process of being handed down, how much can be allowed, in the area of tweaking to fit the times? Because it cannot come down and remain in its original form. Sure. How much can we tweak it?
Okay, I think what you're saying there, how do we use connect our religion to the modern world? Yes. And that's a very good question. Today, that is quite easy, and that is very easy. As you speak, if you take this your laptop and you make it to Nigeria, if you take it to China, it's going to be programmed to China's language. You get it now? I'm not going to be, because I'm a manufacturer, automatically they must use it in my own form, okay? So I think the first thing first, the way is first, we need to first say, embrace what we have first. You get it now? And that is number one. Two, then for example, I'm wearing these glasses. It shades the light from my eye because it's needed. So we need to now embrace the Western culture as is needed also, okay? But not forgetting why I'm losing one. Today, as we speak, in Dubai, the leaders of Dubai still wear their attires, but they speak in English, they communicate in English, they use technology and all that. So I think it's quite easy. And you know what? Even in the school uniform we need to wear our traditional wears, for example. Why do you have to wear Western wear as for example? Why do I have to dread this? I mean, is this not fine? And the thing is this, if I sit in a meeting, a UN meeting, I put on this and you put on the white, who do you think they will give respect and they want to pay for, really? So we need to first go back to that. So let the pastor who wear the Anglican attire wear it in the African attire. You get it? Okay. It does not lessen the power and the anointing of God on top of your life. So we now need to take that into our home. For example, if you walk into my office, one of the things you will notice, you will see the African print. I have African map, African. You just say it because that's who I am. It does not in the way limit me. And for everybody who are walking, the diaspora walking to my place, they just love it. Just want to repeat that. Some people should do a video of it. I want to showcase it and show it. So you need to first embrace that which you are. Then people will not embrace you. Then when it comes in, you can borrow. When you don't have money, you borrow to do business. So we can borrow that thing.
Okay, but the point is that we should borrow appropriately. For instance, I mean, it would be odd to see you wear a pair of socks, for instance, with your traditional attire. And I've seen a lot of people do that. And I will not talk about the other things that you're not supposed to wear, under your traditional attire. Okay? But we'll come to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We'll come to that.
Yeah.
We're taking a break?
We should take a break at this point so that Excel can take a break too and probably have a drink of cold water or something to snack.
Okay.
While we take a break, because Excel is still with us on the second half of this show. It's Today with John and Helen, and we hope that you have been enjoying yourself, learning about who you are as we discuss culture and tradition. We will be back in a short while. Please don't go away.